In Chapter 4, Section 2, we're going to talk about standard form of a quadratic function. Now, yesterday we talked about vertex form. You learned how to graph using vertex form and how to actually write vertex form given a vertex and another point. And that was y equals a times x minus h quantity squared plus k, where h and k were the vertex. Today we're going to talk about this form called standard form. That is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. They're both the exact same graph. They're both going to look like parabolas, but the different forms can be helpful for different scenarios. In order to get from yesterday, so which was vertex, in order to get from vertex and into standard, you just multiply the equation through and combine your like terms. I thought it would be best if I showed you an example. Let's say from yesterday that you had y equals 2 times the quantity x minus 3 squared minus 4. Now this is in vertex form, and if I asked you to find the vertex, I'm hoping that you would tell me it's a positive 3 and a negative 4. And then you would graph accordingly. If I wanted this in standard form, which we'd use for different things, we would go ahead and multiply it out. So we would get y equals 2 times x minus 3. Now write x minus 3 twice since it was squared. See how I wrote 2 times x minus 3 minus 4. You're going to multiply these two binomials together. So I'll get y equals 2 times x squared minus 3x plus 9. Now that's called foiling. Not that foiling's a real word, but that is called foiling. And combine your like terms here. Notice I didn't forget the minus 4 at the back. Y equals 2 times x squared minus 6x plus 9 minus 4. I put together the two minus 3x's. Minus 3x and minus 3x to make a minus 6x. Distribute your 2x squared minus 12x plus 18. Don't forget about the minus 4. And last step, just put the 18 and the minus 4 together. Y equals 2x squared minus 12x plus 14. This form's a lot easier to work with if we're plugging in numbers. This form's a lot easier to work with if we're graphing. In problem 1, I'm going to teach you how to use your calculator to find the minimum or the maximum. Remember, that's just the vertex. Anytime you hear a problem that's for the min or max, they're just asking for the vertex. Get your graphing calculator and go to the y equals screen. The y equals screen is the top left. Something important to make sure is that the plots are off. For example, right now the plot is on, so I would go up, hit enter, and undo it. Let's type in the equation. We have y equals 2x squared plus 8x minus 2. Once you have your equation in, you're going to hit zoom and then select number 6. This is a parabola that's vertically stretched by a factor of 2 and whose vertex is moved to the left and down. Now let's find the minimum on this one. This one only has a minimum because it goes really low, and that's it. That one's a minimum. So you're going to hit second trace, which is second calculate. I'm going to go down to number 3 for this particular one. This one's going to have a min if you want to write that down, and hit enter. It asks you to go to the left of the minimum. That just means you need the cursor to be blinking over here on the left. Hit enter when the cursor's on the left. There it is. Hit enter. Now once you go to the right, there it is. Hit enter. and asks you to take a guess. Really, as long as you hit enter, you're fine. The minimum in this problem is -2. That's the x value. The y value is negative 10. Now I know mine says negative 1.9999998. I don't know why, but sometimes the calculator has issues with that. For everything, assume that's just a negative 2. That's a calculator error. And that's how you find the minimum on a parabola. Go to the got it. Try it again. Let's type in your equation. Go to y equals, clear the old one out. Negative 3x squared minus 4x plus 6. Hit zoom 6. This parabola opens upside down. That's because it had a negative in front of x squared. Alright, hit second, calculate. Now this one has a maximum because it was pointing down. That means it had a top to it. So go down to number 4 this time. You want to write down that this time this one is a max. You can do that. It asks you to go to the left of it. Well, the left is on this side. It's on the left, hit enter. Now it asks you to go to the right. Hit enter. It asks you to take a guess, hit enter. And this time it's negative 0.66666 and y is 7.33333. Well, if you know your decimals, negative 0.66666 is negative 2/3. And 7.33333 is 7 1/3. That's your vertex or your maximum on this parabola. The next section of notes, I'm going to teach you how to find the vertex not on your calculator, but using algebra. Let's talk about this little chart. If you have ax squared, bx, and c, and a is not 0, this is going to be a parabola. Just like it was before. If a is bigger than 0, which means it's positive, the graph's going to open up. If a is less than 0, which means it's negative, it's going to open down. The axis of symmetry is the line x equals, now this is where it gets a little difficult because you used to just write x equals a value, but it is x equals negative b over 2a. I'll teach you what that means in a little bit. The x coordinate of the vertex is negative b over 2a, just like this was. The y coordinate is what you get when you plug it in. I'm not going to tell you this box because I don't want you to get confused. Just write plug it in. Plug in x. The y-intercept will always be the letter C. Take a look at the two parabolas that they show you. One opens up and one opens down. I'll teach you a lot about this as we move on. But just so you know, this is when you find the vertex this way, you can only do it when it's in standard form, or when it's in y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Yesterday, vertex form was much easier. It was plain, it was simple, and it was right there. Today, you're going to have to work for the vertex a little bit. Alright, let's graph it. Well, just like yesterday, the first step is finding the vertex. This is where it becomes a little more difficult, though, than yesterday. Find the vertex, the first step is you write x equals negative b over 2a. Now remember that a in this case is 1, b in this case is 2, and c in this case is 3. So if x equals negative b over 2a, x equals negative 2 over 2 times 1. So you do opposite of b over 2 times 1. Well, that's negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1. All you found so far is x. Now we need to find y. Well, y is what you get when you plug it in. So we'll do negative 1 squared, okay, see how I'm plugging it in, plus 2 times negative 1, again, see how I'm plugging it in, plus 3. And I plugged it into the top equation. Negative 1 squared is 1, minus 2 plus 3, it's minus 2 because 2 times negative 1. When you work that out, you get 1 minus 2 is negative 1, plus 3 is 2. You finally found your vertex is negative 1, 2. A lot more difficult than yesterday. XY graph. Put your vertex in the middle. and surround it by values like you would on a number line. So I went up a little and down a little. I'm going to work with the easier numbers. I'm going to work with 0 and 1. And you'll plug these in just like you did yesterday. You're going to plug them into this equation. Let's start with 0. Well, that's going to be 0 squared plus 0 plus 3. Well, 0 plus 0 plus 3 is 3. Plug in 1 now. That'll be 1 squared plus 2 times 1 plus 3. 1 plus 2 plus 3 makes 6. These should be perfect reflections. Just graph them. Negative 3, 6. Left 3 up 6. Negative 2. Left 2 up 3. Negative 1 up 2. 0, 3. And 1, 6. Get your points on there. You should have a nice U-shaped graph. And that's how you graph problem 2. Problem 2, got it. It says, what is the graph of y equals negative 2x squared plus 2x minus 5? You always have to find your vertex first. So start there. Remember, your vertex is a little more difficult than yesterday because you actually have to find x separately. So you're going to write x equals negative b over 2a. If you want to go to the top, list a, b, and c appropriately. Alright, well in this problem we're going to write negative b. Well, negative b is a negative 2 because it's opposite of what you see. So negative b over 2 times a is negative 2. That's going to be a negative 2 over a negative 4, and that's going to be a positive 1/2. This time your vertex isn't very pretty. So we're going to write x equals 1/2. In order to find y, we plug it in. You'll plug it into the top. So you'll do negative 2 times 1/2 quantity squared plus 2 times 1/2 minus 5. Make sure you guys know how to work this out. Whether you do it mentally, whether you use your calculator, just make sure you know what you're doing. You need to get negative 4.5 when all said and done. Please make sure you know how to do this so you don't get lost when it comes to the test. You finally have your vertex. Your vertex is 1/2 comma negative 4.5. That's how you make your chart. Get your x, y out. Put your vertex in the middle. And surround it. A little lower and a little higher. I'm going to work with the positive numbers. I'm going to start with 1, and again we're going to go back up here and plug them in. So I'm going to do negative 2 times 1 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 5. Plug that in and solve. You get negative 5 at the end. Plug in a 2. So negative 2 times 2 squared plus 2 times 2 minus 5. Plug it in, whether you do it mentally or on the calculator, you need to get negative 9. These are perfect reflections, as long as you do the bottom right. Plot your points. Negative 1, negative 9. Goes all the way down. Left 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 down. 0, negative 5 is over 0 down 5. 1/2, negative 4.5. Be right there in the middle of this box. 1, negative 5, and 2, negative 9. Connect your dots. And you have a parabola that's reflected around the x-axis. Maybe you're beginning to realize that you really miss vertex form from yesterday. Because a lot of this, we've been working a lot with standard form, but you want to go back to yesterday and you need to know how to put it into vertex form. You just find it easier to work with. All right, well, in order to do that, you have very specific steps. Step 1 will be to find the vertex. Since we're going into vertex form, it makes sense that you need the vertex. All right, well, to do that, you do x equals negative b over 2a, just like you did before. That's not different. Negative b is negative 10 over 2 times 2, because a is 2. That's negative 10 over 4, and that gives you negative 5 over 2. Remember, that's just x. Now you got to find y by plugging it in. Y equals 2 times negative 5 over 2 squared plus 10 times negative 5 over 2 plus 7. We're just plugging in what we got. Use your calculator, use your brain, whatever you do, get the right answer. It's negative 5.5. So you finally found the vertex. It's negative 5 over 2, negative 5.5. Now remember, we're not graphing this one, we're going back into standard form. Step 2, find a. Well, step 2 is a lot easier. A is the number out front. So a equals 2. Again, a is just the number out front. Alright, once you get that, step 3 is to plug it into the equation from yesterday, the one we like a lot more for graphing. It's easier to find a vertex at least. So we'll write y equals a is 2, x minus h plus k. Notice I left those blank. Just remember your vertex, go back to step 1. H is from x, k is from y. See how I wrote h and k? So I'll do x minus, it's minus whatever we got. So this is actually going to be plus 5 over 2. Remember, it's minus of whatever we got. And then a negative 5.5 in the back. If you don't want to write plus a negative, just make it a big minus sign.